safe to say we might be living in the real world pirate era because everybody is starting to watch and get into One Piece. And I am proud to say, I am one of those people. Like most people when they first started, I looked at the length of the series and said, nah, that's way too big for me.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
But after some very, very strong suggestions from my brother who's completely obsessed with it, I decided, fuck it, I'll give it a chance. So I watched it, and yeah, it lives up to the hype, for sure. I mean, every single episode, just Ichiro Oda, that motherfucker don't miss. I mean, it took me a while, but eventually I caught up to the anime and I caught up to the manga. This series just took over my life. I mean, no food, no sleep. I basically just lived off of One Piece. I even made my damn pets watch this series. Anyway, it has been a good couple years to get into the One Piece community because we've gotten things like the new anime reboot announcement, the Elbaf arc being animated and going crazy in the manga, and of course the thing I'm going to talk about in this video, the live action One Piece Netflix creation. I know this is something that is a bit split in the One Piece community whether you like it or not, but me personally, I'm a big fan of it. The cast is absolutely lovable and all of them embody their characters to a level that is so charismatic and in a way that kind of pays homage to the original story, and I'm on board with it fully. And so how does all this relate to what I'm going to be talking about in this video? Well, I'm a cartoonist myself. I have a very cartoony, exaggerated, and a style that's kind of influenced by Ichiro Oda and a bit of early 2000s cartoon. It's kind of a style that I'm experimenting with, but the more and more I experiment with, the more I kind of learn to love it. So today, I'm going to draw the characters from the One Piece live action in my own cartoony style. In particular, in this video, I'm going to draw Luffy, Sanji, and Nico Robin, aka Miss All Sunday. And if you stick around to the end, I might add a surprise character in there as well. If you guys like what you see, please help me out with a like, subscribe, all that. I am new, so it would be much appreciated. Thank you. Let's get into the drawings now. And now we're going to start with my personal favorite Straw Hat, Sanji.
You have an anime girl that you're like, yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad to ask. Everybody.
So Taz Skylar in the show was an interesting choice that people were definitely not on board with when he was first cast. So the other cast members who played the Straw Hats kind of looked like their character a little bit, but Taz did not really resemble Sanji that much. Then the first teaser came out, and it kind of got worse. He had a British accent, no swirly eyebrow, and he was a lot bigger than Sanji's typically lean body type depicted in the anime. The show came out, and somehow Taz Skylar pulled it off. He was fully Sanji. It was unquestionable. Even if you still aren't convinced, you gotta admit, he deserves this role. He worked his ass off to make himself the actual cook for the crew, and he actually put in the hours of exercise and effort to maintain the body type to play Sanji with all the kicking and stuff going on. I highly suggest watching his YouTube video where he discusses his entire journey of being Sanji. That being said, let's talk about some of the differences between the anime Sanji and the live action Sanji. When I draw cartoony styles, the two things I particularly take a look at are the face shape and the body type. So a lot of the anime face shapes are kind of triangle and a lot flat faced in the anime versus Taz Skylar, who has a bit of an elongated kind of head, more of on the longer rectangular side. He's not fully like a long head, but you know, he's got a bit more of that shape going on. And as mentioned earlier, his body type, he's just a lot bigger than the anime Sanji, so that's going to be taken into consideration when I draw the cartoony version. And then a lot of the thing to note is that he doesn't have the swirly eyebrow as well, and his eyes are kind of showing a little bit sometimes in the anime. Sanji's eyes are rarely shown just because of the animation and stuff like that, but obviously Taz Skylar can't physically cover his eye with all the action he's doing, so his eyes are going to be much more seen. So yeah, what you're seeing on screen is pretty much my art process from sketch to finished piece. I love Sanji. I love characters in suits, and I love characters that have the bit of that humor to them where they're like a bit of a simp or a lovesick puppy. And yeah, so this performance was particularly like I was looking forward to, and I was not disappointed. So I'm gonna let you guys check out my drawing of Sanji and you tell me what you think. And we will move on to the next Straw Hat.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You didn't even get the tuna, that was crazy!
So yeah, if there's any role that had the maximum amount of pressure to it, it's the role of Monkey D. Luffy. The wacky, the funny, the charismatic, and the action-packed, freedom-seeking future Pirate King himself is a make-or-break role for the entire show and had to be cast right. So out of the hundreds of kids that sent in audition tapes, one stood out from the rest like a diamond in the rough, and that's Inyaki Godoy, of course. in his audition tape, he was actually able to make Oda laugh. Then he was able to transfer that energy from his audition tape to his actual performance, because I was laughing and smiling pretty much throughout most of his delivery from the entire show. So let's get into some differences between Inyaki's Luffy and the anime Luffy. In particular, the visual differences. So in terms of outfits, they are pretty much wearing the same thing. The Netflix crew didn't really deviate in terms of outfits for especially the Romance Dawn arc. A lot of the strats are pretty much wearing exactly what they wore in the manga. But a lot of the big differences come in the hair. Inyaki Godoy's hair is a lot curlier and wavier versus Luffy's hair in the anime, which is a lot straight and a lot more messy. And then there's also differences in the skin tone, which the anime has a lot more paler skin tones for its characters versus Inyaki Godoy, who's from Mexico, and his skin tone reflects that. So it's a lot on the darker side. And then one of the last things is you notice is that in the anime Luffy outfit, obviously he wears sandals versus Inyaki Godoy, who does not have sandals, and he has sneakers developed into his Luffy costume. And yeah, what you're seeing on screen is pretty much everything I have for my artistic process drawing Inyaki Godoy, Luffy in the cartoony style. And you guys tell me what you think in the comments. Alright, so now we're moving on to Nico Robin, or Miss All Sunday as she's come to known as for the majority of the season. She's played by Lera Abova, which is one of my favorite members of the new cast that comes around in season 2. Robin is my second favorite Straw Hat, so the pressure to whoever the actor was going to play her was through the roof for me personally. I'm proud to say, Lera Abova, she did her thing as Nico Robin. In my opinion, she brought both the menace and the intelligence to the role. It gave her a really good screen presence. So getting into the visual differences between the Nico Robin in the show and Lera Abova's Nico Robin, we've got the pale skin is probably the most noticeable one. Obviously with the, I guess, Toei mistake, they had her with a darker skin complexion in the very beginning of the anime when she was Miss All Sunday, and they changed it in later arcs, and because the One Piece live action is doing it with the benefit of hindsight, they kind of changed it and casted a much more pale actor to play her. She is meant to be Russian, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Also in the anime, Nico Robin's eyes are blue versus Lera Abova, who has a hazel greenish color to her eyes. And another thing is that Nico Robin in the anime and manga is kind of a more lengthier, taller person. She's 6'2" or something like that in the anime versus Lera Abova, who's way shorter than that. So taking into all that consideration, let's get into the drawing. So I'm going to draw her in the Miss All Sunday fit with the white trench coat and the white hat. That's the outfit that I kind of like the best from the show and everything that she wore. It's a mostly all white outfit, but I didn't want to just make the outfit kind of just all white. I feel like it visually would look kind of boring. And if you look closely, it's kind of a bit of a cream color in there. It's not just kind of all white. So I kind of try to add a bit of that, but I changed it to kind of lavender in my drawing. I took a bit of liberties and changed kind of like the boot area. She doesn't really have fur on the boots of her Miss All Sunday outfit, but I kind of added it just kind of to add with the fur aesthetic going on with the whole rest of the outfit. And to keep it 100% real, she was kind of one of the harder ones to draw. It took me several attempts, and I had to like sketch out like the exact right kind of body type to put for her. And eventually I got it right, or I like to think I did at least. Yeah, and then some of the poses on the right are some of the most iconic like Robin stuff, like her doing the Dose Fleur thing and her sitting on the railing when she first meets the Straw Hats for the first time. And yeah, that completes all three of the Straw Hats, and this is the Nico Robin drawing. And yeah, this is all three of them lined up side by side. Personally, one of the funnest things I've had to draw. I'm really enjoying drawing in this style, so you guys let me know what you think of the style and if I chose to correct method of drawing for each of the Straw Hats members here. And as I did promise in the very beginning, I am going to add another member to the roster with just a quick sketch. Another person, an actress who I thought was a standout in season 2, Sharisha Chandra's Vivi, so I drew a quick sketch of that. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, this is part 1 of 2. I do have more plans to do the other Straw Hats, and in the next video, I would be able to tackle Zoro, Usopp, and Nami. So if you like this one, I'll work on that real soon. Yeah, you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments, and like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to everybody later about art. See ya.